In the year 2000, the United States Mint introduced a new coin that would quickly capture the imagination of collectors, historians, and the general public alike. It wasn't just a simple piece of currency. It was a symbol of heritage, artistry, and national pride. The coin was the Sacagawea $1 coin, minted in Philadelphia and Denver, and meant to replace the unpopular Susan B. Anthony dollar. But as fate would have it, one particular version of this coin, the 2000-piece Sacagawea dollar, would become the center of one of the most fascinating and valuable numismatic stories in modern American history. When a mint unveiled the Sacagawea dollar, it wanted to create something that represented not just value, but also history. The coin's design featured Sacagawea, the Shoshone woman who guided Lewis and Clark on their expedition across the American frontier in the early 1800s. She was chosen to represent courage, guidance, and contribution, values deeply rooted in the nation's identity. Sculptor Glenna Goodacker created the portrait, capturing Sacagawea carrying her infant son, Jean-Baptiste, on her back. The reverse of the coin featured a soaring eagle, designed by Thomas D. Rogers, symbolizing freedom and the American spirit. The mint struck millions of these coins in 2000, primarily with the P mint mark representing the Philadelphia Mint. Most of these coins entered circulation with little fanfare, but among them, a very small number were unlike any others. These special coins contained minting anomalies and variations that would go on to make them some of the most sought-after modern coins in existence. Some were struck with strikingly deep details, unique metallic tones, and most notably, a few were created on the wrong planchets, blanks intended for a completely different coin. But that's where the story of the 2000-piece Sacagawea $1 coin era begins. One of the most famous examples is the Sacagawea $/Washington quarter mule. In the minting world, a mule is a coin created when two dies intended for different coins are accidentally paired together. In this extraordinary case, a Sacagawea dollar reverse die was mistakenly paired with a Washington quarter obverse die. The result? A coin that had George Washington's face on one side and the Sacagawea eagle design on the other. This wasn't supposed to happen, ever. The minting process is tightly controlled, with precision machines and multiple checks to prevent such accidents. But somehow, a few of these mule coins were struck and released into circulation before anyone noticed. For collectors, this was like finding buried treasure. A $1 coin that bore two different designs from two different denominations was not only an incredible rarity, but also a piece of minting history. The first of these mule coins surfaced in 2000 when a collector discovered it in a roll of dollar coins obtained from bank. At first, many dismissed it as a novelty or a counterfeit. But once it was authenticated by the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, the numismatic world was stunned. The coin was real, the error genuine, and its value skyrocketed overnight. The discovery ignited a frenzy. Collectors across the country began checking their dollar coins, hoping to find another. And more were found, but not many. To this day, only about 15 known examples of the 2000-piece Sacagawea mule error coins are known to exist. Each one is unique in minor ways, but all share the same distinctive combination of Washington's head and the Sacagawea eagle. These coins have achieved legendary status, fetching astonishing prices at auction. Depending on their condition and the specifics of the strike, they've been known to sell anywhere between $42,000 and $198,000. Imagine that, a $1 coin, worth nearly $200,000 because of a single minting error. That's the kind of story that makes the numismatic world so captivating. But even outside the famous mule errors, the 2000-piece Sacagawea dollar has other variations and characteristics that make it special. Some of the early strikes were produced with special burnished planchets intended to give them a brilliant, proof-like appearance. Others show minor double-die errors or slight differences in surface finish caused by the new alloy used in the coin's production. These subtle differences add depth to the coin's legacy and intrigue to its story. The mint had intended for the Sacagawea dollar to reintroduce the public to the dollar coin. It was lighter and brighter than its predecessor, with a golden hue created by manganese brass alloy. The color was meant to make it distinct from other coins in circulation, but unfortunately, the coin never caught on for everyday use. However, that very lack of circulation contributed to the coin's allure among collectors. Since fewer people used them, many were preserved in excellent condition, and some of those carried hidden surprises like the now famous errors. In the years that followed, stories began to circulate about people who had unknowingly used rare 2000 p Sacagawea dollars in vending machines, never realizing they were giving away a small fortune. It's the kind of irony that adds to the mystique of such coins, a treasure hiding in plain sight, mistaken for something ordinary. That possibility keeps collectors looking, searching through rolls of coins, hoping to stumble upon one of these historic pieces. The appeal of the Sacagawea coin isn't just in its rarity or value. It's also in its symbolism. Sacagawea herself represents guidance, perseverance, and contribution, qualities that resonate deeply with collectors who value the stories behind the coins they collect. To own one of these rare 2000 p coins is to hold a piece of history that connects modern America to its frontier past. It's both a work of art and a symbol of the unpredictable beauty that can emerge even from a mistake. The Philadelphia Mint, where the P mark originates, is the oldest mint facility in the United States. By 2000, it was a marvel of technology, producing billions of coins annually with incredible precision. But the discovery of the mule error reminded everyone that even the most advanced systems are not immune to human oversight. It also rekindled a sense of wonder and excitement in the collecting world. People realized that modern coins could still carry surprises, that mint errors weren't relics of the past, but possibilities that still existed today. Collectors often talk about the thrill of discovery, the moment when a small detail reveals a massive surprise. The 2000 p Sacagawea dollar embodies that feeling perfectly. Whether it's the dramatic mule error or a subtle variation in finish, each discovery adds to the coin's legacy and mystique. It's not just about the money. It's about the story, the connection to history, and the joy of finding something extraordinary in something so small. Today, those lucky enough to own a 2000 p Sacagawea mule error hold more than just a coin. They hold a masterpiece of accident and history. Each one is graded, protected, and cherished, often kept in private collections or displayed at numismatic exhibitions. The few times these coins appear at auction, they attract intense bidding wars, with prices climbing higher each year as collectors compete for ownership of such a rare piece. Even for collectors who don't own one, the story of the 2000 p Sacagawea dollar continues to inspire. It's a reminder that numismatics isn't just about collecting coins. It's about uncovering stories, histories, and moments of chance that define a nation's currency. A simple $1 coin can tell a story of human error, artistic design, and the power of discovery. For those who dream of finding one, there's still hope. Every now and then, a new example surfaces, often found by an unsuspecting individual who just happened to take a closer look. And every time that happens, it reignites the fascination all over again. It makes collectors revisit their own collections, hoping to catch a glimpse of that distinctive design mismatch or unusual shine that could change everything. It's incredible to think that a coin as small and common as the Sacagawea dollar could carry such monumental value and significance. Yet, that's what makes this hobby so captivating. Hidden in plain sight, within everyday pocket change, could be a coin worth more than a luxury car, a home, or even a lifetime of savings. The 2000 p Sacagawea dollar is proof of that, a beautiful accident that became a legend. Over 2 decades later, its legacy continues to grow. Each time one of these coins changes hands, it adds another chapter to its story, from a minting floor in Philadelphia to a collector's display case. The fascination endures not just because of its monetary worth, but because it reminds us that history and value can emerge in the most unexpected ways. So, if you ever find a Sacagawea dollar from 2000 with a P mint mark, don't dismiss it. Take a close look, turn it over, inspect the design, feel its weight, and study its details. Because somewhere out there, among millions of ordinary coins, a few extraordinary ones are still waiting to be discovered. Coins that could be worth as much as $198,000, all because of a single minting mistake that turned a dollar into a treasure. That's the magic of the 2000 p Sacagawea dollar, a coin born from precision, touched by error, and elevated by history. It's not just a piece of metal. It's a story, a mystery, and a reminder that sometimes the smallest things hold the greatest surprises. In 1979, the United States Mint unveiled a new coin that was meant to redefine the American dollar in both form and symbolism. It was small, modern, and carried a face that represented progress, a face that had never before appeared on U.S. currency. This was the Susan B. Anthony $1 coin, and while it was created with the hope of becoming a revolutionary step in American coinage, it would soon become one of the most fascinating, controversial, and collectible pieces in modern U.S. history. When the Susan B. Anthony dollar was introduced, it marked the first time in American history that a real woman, not a symbolic figure like Lady Liberty, was featured on a circulating U.S. coin. This was no ordinary woman. Susan B. Anthony was a trailblazer, a reformer, and a key leader in the women's suffrage movement. Her tireless efforts in the 19th century helped pave the way for the 19th Amendment, which gave women the right to vote. To have her image on a coin was a powerful statement, one that recognized both her legacy and the nation's ongoing journey toward equality. The design of the coin was bold for its time. The obverse featured a detailed portrait of Susan B. Anthony, designed by Chief Engraver Frank Gasparo. Around her image were 11 stars, representing the original colonies, along with the word liberty and the national motto, "In God We Trust." The reverse depicted an eagle landing on the moon, clutching an olive branch, the same design used on the Eisenhower dollar, symbolizing both peace and America's accomplishments in space exploration. The coin was struck in copper-nickel-clad composition, similar to the quarters and half dollars of the time, with a reeded edge and a diameter of 26.5 millimeters. The idea was to create a coin that was smaller and more convenient than the bulky Eisenhower dollar, making it easier to carry and use in vending machines. It was minted at 3 facilities: Philadelphia, Mark P. Denver D., and San Francisco S. But despite its forward-thinking design and the historic honor it bestowed upon Susan B. Anthony, the coin faced immediate backlash. When it entered circulation, the public quickly noticed that the new dollar coin looked and felt too much like a quarter. The size, color, and even edge reading were nearly identical, which led to confusion at cash registers and vending machines across the country. People often mistook the coin for a quarter and grew frustrated by the inconvenience. Within a short time, the coin was dubbed a failure by the general public. What many didn't realize, however, was that among these coins, hidden within the millions minted, were rare varieties and minting errors that would eventually become treasures of immense value. Over time, the 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar, once dismissed as a disappointment, transformed into one of the most intriguing modern collectibles in numismatic history. One of the most famous varieties is the 1979 P wide rim, or near-date dollar. On most 1979 Susan B. Anthony coins, the distance between the rim and the date is fairly wide, but on the rare variety, the rim is noticeably thicker, making the date appear closer to the edge. This subtle difference, easily overlooked by the casual observer, has become a key indicator of rarity. Collectors seek out this version because it was struck from an early die intended for the 1980 issue, making it a transitional piece that bridges 2 minting years. When discovered, these coins started selling for hundreds, then thousands of dollars. And in pristine condition, a 1979 P wide rim dollar can fetch incredible sums. In recent years, top-graded examples certified by PCGS or NGC have been known to reach as high as $51,000 to $179,000, depending on condition and market demand. It's a remarkable turnaround for a coin once dismissed as unpopular. Another variety that commands attention is the 1979 S-proof issue with 2 distinct mintmark types, the Type 1 filled S and the rarer Type 2 clear S. The Type 2 version features a sharply defined S mintmark with clean edges and greater clarity, distinguishing it from the more common filled version. These proof coins, struck with extraordinary detail and mirror-like surfaces, were never meant for general circulation, but rather for collectors. Today, a flawless Type 2 proof dollar is a prized possession, symbolizing precision and perfection in minting. There's also fascination surrounding error coins from the 1979 Susan B. Anthony series. Ms. strikes, double strikes, off-center strikes, and other minting errors have surfaced over the years, each one adding to the legend of this coin. These errors tell stories of mechanical mishaps and moments when the strict precision of the mint faltered, creating pieces that defy the norm. For collectors, such coins are more than mistakes. They're artifacts of chance, each one unique and valuable in its own right. To understand why the Susan B. Anthony Dollar failed in circulation, but thrived in collecting circles. One has to look at the cultural and economic backdrop of the late 1970s. The United States was modernizing rapidly, with technology reshaping everyday life. The Mint hoped a smaller dollar coin would fit seamlessly into vending machines, transit systems, and automated payment systems. However, the public wasn't ready to abandon the familiarity of paper dollar bills. Ironically, while the coin struggled to gain acceptance in wallets, it found its place in history books and collector displays. It became the first small-sized dollar coin in U.S. history, paving the way for later issues like the golden Sacagawea dollar and the presidential dollar series. In that sense, the Susan B. Anthony coin was a trailblazer, just like the woman it honored. Today, when collectors look at 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar, they don't just see a piece of currency. They see a story. They see the courage of a woman who fought for equality, the innovation of a mint that dared to modernize, and the unpredictable journey of a coin that turned failure into fascination. The wide rim variety, in particular, represents the beauty of discovery, a reminder that sometimes the most valuable treasures are found in the smallest details. Imagine holding a coin that looks just like any other, but upon closer inspection, you notice the rim is slightly thicker, the date a bit nearer to the edge. That tiny difference could mean the coin in your hand isn't worth $1. It could be worth tens of thousands, or even close to $179,000 if it's in pristine mint state condition. That's the thrill that keeps collectors searching through old change, coin rolls, and estate collections, hoping to uncover one of these historic treasures. It's also worth noting that while the 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar had a short production run, officially ending in 1981, with a brief revival in 1999, it left a lasting mark. The coin remains a significant chapter in American numismatic history, celebrated for its boldness and the statement it made about representation. No longer were coins reserved for presidents, allegorical figures, or symbols of liberty. Now, a woman who changed the course of American democracy shared that honor. For many collectors, owning a Susan B. Anthony dollar isn't just about value. It's about legacy. It's about holding a coin that represents courage, progress, and transformation. It's about celebrating an era when the mint dared to challenge convention and pay tribute to a leader whose voice still echoes through history. Even though it didn't achieve commercial success, the coin's legacy continues to grow. Collectors around the world hunt for pristine examples, error strikes, and proof editions. Coin shows, online auctions, and private sales continue to feature the 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar as a highlight, with prices soaring as more people recognize its rarity and significance. There's also an emotional connection that comes with this coin. For those who lived through the late 1970s, the Susan B. Anthony dollar represents a piece of nostalgia, a reminder of a time when change was both literal and symbolic. For younger collectors, it's a gateway coin, an entry point into the world of U.S. numismatics, where history and value collide. So, if you ever come across a Susan B. Anthony dollar from 1979, take a close look before spending it. Check the rim. Study the date. Look at the mint mark, because that ordinary-looking coin might just be one of the rare ones, the kind that collectors dream of finding, the kind that turns pocket change into a small fortune, the kind that tells a story far greater than its face value. And that's the beauty of the 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar. It's a coin that represents innovation, imperfection, and the unpredictable nature of history. It reminds us that even in moments of rejection, greatness can emerge. What was once seen as a failure is now a collector's gem, admired and sought after around the world. Somewhere out there, tucked away in an old coin jar, a drawer, or a forgotten wallet, 1979, P-wide rimmed Susan B. Anthony dollar might still be waiting to be rediscovered. A coin worth far more than anyone could imagine, possibly as much as $179,000. And that's what makes collecting coins so endlessly fascinating. The possibility that history, art, and fortune might be hiding right in the palm of your hand. In the early decades of the 19th century, the United States was still shaping its identity, politically, economically, and culturally. The country was finding its footing after its early growing pains, and at the heart of that era stood one of America's most complex and intellectual presidents, John Quincy Adams. His presidency, which lasted from 1825 to 1829, is remembered for its vision, reform, and the difficult transitions that marked an evolving nation. But what many people don't realize is that this era, tied so closely to Adams' name, is also linked to one of the most captivating coins in American numismatic history, the John Quincy Adams $1 coin. This coin, minted centuries later as part of the U.S. presidential dollar series, honors the sixth president of the United States, yet its design and symbolism reach deep into the legacy of a man who helped shape America's early destiny. Collectors around the world have developed a deep fascination with the John Quincy Adams dollar, not just because of its beauty and historical importance, but because of the rare errors and varieties that have turned some of these coins into valuable treasures. It's a coin that reflects both the artistry of modern minting and the echoes of early American ideals. When you hold a John Quincy Adams dollar in your hand, you're not just looking at a piece of metal. You're touching a tribute to a man who believed in knowledge, diplomacy, and the potential of the human spirit. John Quincy Adams was the son of another great statesman, John Adams, the second president of the United States. But rather than living in his father's shadow, he carved out his own legacy as a scholar, diplomat, and leader. Before becoming president, Adams served as an ambassador to several European nations, helping to secure peace after the War of 1812. He was a man of intellect and principle, fluent in several languages, devoted to public service, and one of the most well-read presidents America ever had. His presidency was not marked by great popularity, but by a dedication to progress, promoting infrastructure, education, and the expansion of science and innovation. The IT was this legacy of intellect and forward-thinking leadership that inspired the U.S. Mint to include John Quincy Adams in the presidential $1 coin program. The coin was part of a series launched in 2007, honoring U.S. presidents in the order they served. Each coin featured a bold portrait of the president on the obverse and the Statue of Liberty on the reverse. When the John Quincy Adams coin was released, collectors immediately took notice of its crisp design and strong connection to early American history. The obverse of the coin displays a dignified portrait of John Quincy Adams, his expression calm, yet resolute, capturing the thoughtful demeanor that defined his character. His name circles the top of the coin, while the years of his presidency, 1825 to 1829, appear below. The inscriptions "In God We Trust" and "Sixth President" complete the design. On the reverse, the Statue of Liberty stands tall, her torch raised high, symbolizing freedom and enlightenment, ideals that Adams himself cherished deeply. The inscriptions "United States of America" and $1 mark its denomination, and beneath her arm lies the small mint mark, and the designer's initials point. One of the most striking aspects of the John Quincy Adams dollar is its edge lettering, a unique feature that sets it apart from many earlier U.S. coins. Along the edge are the inscriptions "E Pluribus Unum," the year of issue, and the mint mark. However, this innovative design element also led to one of the most famous minting errors in modern coinage: the missing edge lettering error. During production, some coins slipped through the minting process without receiving their edge inscriptions, resulting in completely smooth-edged dollars. These rare coins caused a sensation among collectors when they were first discovered. The absence of the lettering gave them an unusual and distinctive appearance, instantly elevating their desirability. For those lucky enough to find one, it was like uncovering a hidden secret of the mint, a modern treasure born from a mechanical oversight. Because of this, some examples of the John Quincy Adams dollar with missing or partially missing edge lettering have sold for significant sums at auction. Depending on their condition, these coins can fetch anywhere between $28,000 and $110,000, making them not just fascinating historical pieces, but also highly valuable collectibles. The allure of such an error lies in its rarity. It's a tangible reminder that even in an age of precision, imperfection can create beauty and worth. Beyond the missing edge lettering, other varieties and errors have added layers of intrigue to the John Quincy Adams dollar. Some coins show doubled edge inscriptions, where the lettering appears twice, slightly offset, giving the illusion of shadowed text. Others have partial inscriptions, where the letters fade midway or are struck only on part of the edge. There are even coins with slightly rotated reverses, where the Statue of Liberty doesn't align perfectly with the president's portrait. Each of these anomalies tells its own story of how precision sometimes falters under the high-speed conditions of modern minting. Collectors have always been drawn to these imperfections, not just for their monetary value, but for the human story they represent. Every error coin is, in a sense, a small rebellion against uniformity, a one-of-a-kind creation that escaped the mint's strict quality control. In a world where billions of coins are produced, the existence of one with a flaw is both rare and poetic. But what makes the John Quincy Adams dollar even more appealing is the legacy of the man it honors. John Quincy Adams was a visionary far ahead of his time. As president, he advocated for the establishment of a national university, the creation of an observatory, and federal funding for infrastructure improvements like roads and canals. His vision of America was one of learning and progress, where knowledge was as valuable as gold. Even after leaving the presidency, Adams continued to serve the nation as a member of the House of Representatives, the only former president ever to do so. It was there that he became a leading voice against slavery, fighting tirelessly for the rights and freedom of others until his final days. He famously collapsed on the floor of the House while giving a passionate speech, a fitting end for a man who had dedicated his entire life to public service. When collectors look at the John Quincy Adams dollar, they don't just see a coin. They see a tribute to a man who believed in enlightenment, education, and integrity. The coin's design, with the Statue of Liberty on one side and Adams' thoughtful gaze on the other, feels almost symbolic. It's as though the torch of knowledge and freedom that liberty holds is being passed down through history, illuminating the ideals Adams cherished. The presidential $1 coin program itself holds a special place in numismatic history. Launched to honor all U.S. presidents in sequence, the program ran from 2007 to 2016, producing a new design every few months. But among the many coins released, the John Quincy Adams issue stands out not just for its artistry, but for the unexpected excitement it brought to collectors through its rare error varieties. Imagine the thrill of discovering a John Quincy Adams dollar in your change, only to realize that its edge lettering is missing or doubled. At first glance, it might look ordinary, the same gold-colored surface, the same dignified portrait. But under closer inspection, that subtle absence or imperfection could mean you're holding a piece worth tens of thousands of dollars. That's the magic of coin collecting, the possibility that history and fortune might be hiding right in your pocket. The coins were struck primarily at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, with proof versions produced in San Francisco. The satin finish and proof editions, in particular, are celebrated for their intricate detail and mirror-like surfaces. While most circulated examples are worth only face value, those rare errors, especially the missing edge lettering or double-edge inscriptions, transform an ordinary coin into a numismatic gem. Over time, the John Quincy Adams dollar has gained a loyal following. It appeals not only to collectors who appreciate its rarity, but also to history enthusiasts who admire the man behind the design. It serves as a tangible link to the early years of the American Republic, when ideals of freedom, knowledge, and progress were being forged. There's also a certain poetic justice in the fact that the coin honoring John Quincy Adams, a man who often went underappreciated during his presidency, has itself become a hidden treasure, valued more today than it was when first minted. It's as if time has finally given both the man and his coin the recognition they deserved. For anyone building a collection of presidential dollars, the John Quincy Adams issue is essential. But for those hunting for something extraordinary, the quest for one of the rare error versions is where the real adventure begins. The moment you find a coin with that smooth, unlettered edge, or the faint ghost of doubled text, you've uncovered a piece of history that carries both a story and a significant price tag. The next time you come across a golden-colored dollar coin, don't dismiss it too quickly. Turn in your fingers. Look closely at the edge, because hidden among millions of ordinary coins could be one that breaks the mold. A John Quincy Adams dollar that's not just a symbol of America's past, but a ticket to a collector's dream. And for those lucky enough to find one in pristine, mint condition, that dream could easily translate into a small fortune, sometimes selling for as much as $110,000, depending on rarity, grading, and market demand. The story of the John Quincy Adams $1 coin reminds us that history doesn't just live in books or monuments. It lives in the small details, in the art and imperfections of the things we carry every day. It tells us that beauty can come from both precision and error, and that even a coin meant for circulation can become a treasure worth more than anyone could imagine, as whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone who enjoys the thrill of discovery. Keep an eye out for that golden coin bearing the calm, wise face of America's sixth president. Because somewhere in that small circle of metal lies a story of progress, imperfection, and enduring value. A story that continues to inspire and captivate nearly 2 centuries after John Quincy Adams helped shape the nation he so deeply loved.